25 reasons growing up in the 1970s was the best. Let's take a trip back in time to a decade many still call the sweetest time to be alive, the vibrant and unforgettable 1970s. While this decade is often remembered for major historical events like the Vietnam War or Watergate, for those of us who grew up in the 70s, it was truly an era of innocence, where disco reigned supreme and our hair looked like chia pets. From the simple brilliance of pet rocks to the educational jingles of Schoolhouse Rock, there are so many reasons why the 70s were the best time to be a kid. Join us as we explore 25 reasons why we're thrilled we grew up in the 70s. Music came on vinyl, cassette tapes, and 8-tracks. In the 70s, before the digital era exploded, enjoying music was a much more physical and immersive experience. We had multiple audio formats, each offering a unique feel. Vinyl records were king for home listening, with large album covers that let us explore the artwork and read the lyrics. Cassette tapes were perfect for music on the go, turning our little boomboxes into essential travel companions, allowing us to manually flip the tape to find our favorite songs. And 8-track tapes, though still a bit mysterious about their exact purpose, were also an indispensable part of many family collections. The feeling of holding an album cover or flipping a cassette tape to find your favorite song made the entire listening experience much more personal and special. It wasn't just about the sound, it was a ritual, a part of life, a way to connect with artists and their work in a deep way that today's streaming generation might find hard to grasp. We learned everything we needed to know from Schoolhouse Rock. The brilliance of Schoolhouse Rock lay in the fact that it taught us timeless lessons about grammar, math, politics, and science without any of us even realizing we were learning. The cartoons were hilarious, and the songs were so catchy that we can still sing the entire Conjunction Junction What's Your Function song without missing a beat. And when the show ended, our minds were packed with useful facts and information that we probably would have tuned out if they came from a real teacher. Schoolhouse Rock transformed learning into an exciting adventure, a creative approach rarely achieved by other educational programs. It proved that learning doesn't have to be dry. It can be a vibrant part of entertainment, etched into children's minds with catchy tunes and memorable visuals. Saturday mornings were reserved for cartoons. If you wanted to watch your favorite cartoons, there was only one time to do it: Saturday morning. We didn't have the conveniences kids have today, with digital streaming services allowing them to watch their favorite shows anytime, 24 hours a day. And we were happy about that. Saturday morning cartoons taught us patience and gratitude for every minute of Bugs Bunny. You couldn't have a short attention span when you only had 30 minutes of Looney Tunes per week. If you didn't pay attention, you'd miss it all. That moment became a sacred ritual, an indispensable part of childhood, where anticipation and appreciation created a precious and meaningful cartoon-watching experience. School lunches had a flexible definition of healthy. Just look at this lunch menu from a Texas school in 1974. Their idea of healthy, brain-boosting food at the time included chili burgers, hamburgers, oven-fried chicken, buttered corn, and fruit jelly. It's a miracle we all didn't fall asleep in every class, but it was delicious and our taste buds were very happy. This menu reflects a time when nutritional guidelines weren't as strict as they are now, and the top priorities were often flavor and fullness. These comfort foods not only nourished our bodies, but were also a part of the childhood experience, bringing simple joy and memorable school meals, even if they weren't entirely healthy by modern standards. We stayed up late just to watch Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live is an institution now, and you don't really have to stay up late on a Saturday night to watch it anymore. But in the late 70s, it was still pretty mysterious, at least for kids who only heard whispers about the show from their older siblings. Getting to watch even 5 minutes of SNL felt like we were doing something sneaky and daring. It was a doorway to the adult world, filled with sharp jokes, unpredictable performances, and a freedom of expression we had never seen. The thrill of experiencing a grown-up show illicitly amplified its appeal and excitement, turning every SNL moment into a small adventure, a sign of budding maturity and the quiet, rebellious spirit of childhood. What's your favorite memory growing up in the 70s that you think everyone should know about? We went to the arcade with a pocket full of quarters. Kids today would probably scoff at how we played video games in the 70s. We actually had to pay a quarter for each game, and we didn't regret a single cent. On one hand, it made the experience more precious. We didn't just turn on a console at home and play endless Pac-Man. We had to save our money and wait until the weekend when our parents allowed us to walk to the arcade. The arcade wasn't just a place to play games, it was a social hub where we met friends, showed off our skills, and experienced the thrill of competition. Every coin dropped into a machine was an investment in joy and excitement, transforming each gaming session into an anticipated adventure, not just a casual pastime. We were allowed to go outside without parental supervision. Whether you were a city kid or a country kid, leaving the house without constant parental oversight wasn't a big deal in the 70s. By today's standards, it was an unprecedented level of freedom, and we cherished every moment of it. We could roam the neighborhood, explore secret paths, build forts in the woods, or simply play endless games with friends. Without rigid schedules or adult intervention, we learned to solve our own problems, negotiate with friends, and create our own adventures. This freedom fostered imagination, independence, and adaptability, shaping a childhood filled with spontaneous discoveries and unforgettable memories, where the outside world was our limitless playground. And riding bikes didn't require any extra gear. In the 70s, seeing a kid wearing a helmet while riding a bike was not only rare, it was unheard of. Even if you fancied yourself a neighborhood Evel Knievel, wearing a helmet was like admitting to the other kids that you expected to crash. We probably had more concussions than necessary, but at the time we had no idea how dangerous it was to leave our skulls exposed. The absence of helmets or other protective gear enhanced the feeling of freedom and daring. It reflected a different era of risk perception and safety approach, where children were encouraged to explore their limits without being constrained by modern rules. The feeling of wind rushing through our hair as we zoomed down a hill on our bikes was a symbol of pure, carefree adventure. A private phone call depended on the length of your rotary phone cord. In the 70s, there were no cell phones. If you wanted to have a conversation without your parents or siblings eavesdropping, you had to get creative. Wherever the home phone was located, for many it was in the kitchen. The challenge was to see how far the cord could stretch, and if there was a way to pull it into another room with a door. If you couldn't stretch it far enough, you just had to be careful not to say anything you didn't want your whole family to hear. This created humorous and sometimes tense moments as we tried to ingeniously extend the cord as far as possible, or secretly whisper into the receiver. It also taught us about privacy and its limits, while adding value to the rare personal conversations we managed to have. If someone wanted to bully you, they had to do it in person. Kids can always be cruel to each other, but at least in the 70s, if you wanted to be nasty, you had to put in the effort. You couldn't do it anonymously from behind a computer screen without any consequences. You had to walk up and be cruel right to their face. Their words could still hurt, but at least you were never bullied on a global forum in front of millions of strangers. This directness created a different level of accountability and interaction. Although painful, it was usually a more localized issue, without the widespread reach and constant pressure of today's online bullying. This reminds us of an era where relationships, good or bad, were expressed through direct human interaction, bringing a different kind of challenge and lesson. You could open junk mail without worrying about viruses. In today's digital world, opening an email from an unknown sender can bring the risk of viruses or scams, but in the 70s, everything was much simpler and safer. You could open junk mail without worrying about viruses. The only danger of opening mail from a mysterious sender in the 1970s was the possibility of receiving a chain letter. But unless you were particularly superstitious, you could usually ignore them without too much worry. However, in the 70s, we would never open a letter and then discover, oh no, my house is now infected with a virus, or my personal information has been stolen. Ah, those glorious days when the safety and trustworthiness of receiving physical mail was a hallmark of this era. Without the threat of malware or sophisticated scams, opening mail became a completely carefree act, a part of daily life untroubled by cybersecurity worries. It shows a distinct difference from the complex and risky digital world we live in today. Shag carpets made the best beds in history. When we came home after hours of unlimited outdoor play, one of the most comforting and cozy things about the 70s was shag carpet. Seriously, there was no experience quite like sinking your entire body into a soft, plush shag carpet. For a true 70s kid, nothing made us smile like memories of making snow angels on a warm shag rug or simply lying on it reading books. This type of carpet wasn't just ordinary furniture, it was a play space. A place to lounge, read, play games, or simply feel the softness and warmth underfoot. Shag carpet was a symbol of 70s interior decor, bringing comfort and a touch of luxury to the home, transforming living spaces into warm cocoons. Its soft, thick feel turned the floor into a giant cushion, a little paradise where children's imaginations could soar, creating memories of coziness and carefree joy. It was an inseparable part of the living space, a simple item that brought great joy, a symbol of the comfort and distinctive style of that decade. Everyone worshipped that Farrah Fawcett poster. Continuing with the cultural icons of the 70s, we absolutely must mention a phenomenon that spread through every home, an icon everyone craved to own, the Farrah Fawcett poster. You might ask, which poster? Imagine a meme, but in physical form, so popular that the entire world unanimously agreed it was the only meme that mattered, and everyone wanted a copy to proudly hang on their bedroom wall. Simply displaying this poster subtly declared that you were in the know, you understood pop culture, your taste was more sophisticated than other kids, and you grasped something about the world that only adults seem to truly appreciate. The Farrah Fawcett poster wasn't just an image of a beautiful actress. It was a style statement, a generational identifier, a measure of cool, and an understanding of trends. Owning it wasn't just having a picture, it was a way to express connection to the glamorous entertainment world, an expression of shared admiration for an icon of beauty and style of the era. It created a phenomenon that permeated every corner, from small bedrooms to lively conversations. This poster wasn't merely a decoration, it was a shared memory, an image etched into the minds of millions of 70s kids, marking an era when pop cultural icons had such a strong and authentic influence. Our clothes were insane. We can't look at our old photos from the 1970s without cringing, but we secretly loved those crazy outfits. At the very least, we all looked silly collectively in the era's signature wide-collared shirts and bell-bottoms. 70s fashion stood out with its bold colors, vibrant patterns, and free-spirited designs, reflecting the era's spirit of freedom and experimentation. Flared bell-bottoms, oversized lapel shirts, and unique patterned knitwear were unmistakable symbols of the style of the time. While looking back, they might seem a bit odd or outdated by modern standards, it was precisely that uniqueness and personality that created an unforgettable impression, a part of the innocence and distinct vibe of kids growing up in this decade. We weren't afraid to be different. In fact, we were proud to wear colorful and oddly shaped outfits because that's how we expressed our individuality and blended into the flow of the era. Fashion wasn't just clothes, it was part of the experience, the language of a generation. The bowl cut was considered fashionable. And speaking of fashion, we can't ignore a hair trend that most 70s kids sported, the bowl cut. In the 70s, it seemed every kid saw Adam Rich on the TV show 8 is Enough and immediately ran home to tell their parents, "I want to look exactly like that." Indeed, whether rich or poor, it didn't matter. We all had haircuts that looked as if our moms had placed a salad bowl on our heads and meticulously cut around the bottom with scissors. The bowl cut became a widespread trend, shaping the general appearance of children throughout this decade. It wasn't just a hairstyle, it was a part of conformity, a generational identifier, a simple and innocent style. While today it might be considered outdated or even funny at the time, it was a symbol of simplicity, a recognizable characteristic of the 70s generation. This haircut didn't require complexity or elaborate styling, reflecting a simpler life where children weren't under too much pressure about their appearance or personal style. It's a lovely and humorous childhood memory, when a bowl could become the most fashionable styling tool. What 70s trend or fad do you secretly miss the most? Learning the bump was the only dance move necessary. When vibrant disco tunes played, there was one dance that became a craze, and the only skill every 70s kid needed to know: the bump. The bump was simple, yet there was something about it that felt rebellious and mischievous. Basically, you just had to bump hips with your partner repeatedly in rhythm. Just put on Shake, Shake, Shake by Casey and the Sunshine Band, and us 70s kids could dance the bump all night long without any problems, because the dance really wasn't that complicated. The bump didn't require complex skills or professional coordination, allowing everyone to join the dance floor, regardless of their dancing ability. It was a highly social dance, creating opportunities for fun and carefree interaction, expressing the free-spirited and energetic vibe of the disco era. This dance wasn't just a way to entertain, it was a part of community connection, where everyone could share joy and positive energy together. It was a symbol of simplicity and innocence in entertainment, where joy came from movement and direct interaction, without needing complex performances or elaborate techniques. Rocks counted as pets. In the world of boundless innocence and creativity of the 70s, even inanimate objects like rocks could become a part of our childhood. Rocks counted as pets. It wasn't just that we adopted rocks and pretended they were real pets like a dog or cat, except they couldn't show real affection. Stranger still, we actually paid someone to sell us these rocks, even though rocks were virtually free everywhere you went. Yes, it sounds absurd looking back, but it was a fun and harmless pastime, a simple diversion. This pet rock phenomenon is a testament to the innocence, humor, and sometimes oddness of the 70s. It shows that children could find joy and creativity in the simplest things, turning an inanimate object into an imaginary companion. It was a way to alleviate boredom in an era without smartphones or thousands of entertainment channels. This is a prime example of the difference in entertainment and mindset of a generation, a quirky memory of a time when creativity and imagination were not limited by anything. No one was cooler than the Fonz. Seriously, no one could compare to him. Just imagine, in today's skeptical and complex modern world, would a character as simple and wholesome as the Fonz be idolized so much? He was just a single middle-aged man wearing a leather jacket, constantly giving a thumbs up and uttering that signature, "Aye!" It sounds so simple that he might probably be laughed off and disappear from the entertainment map if he appeared today. Yet, in the 70s, the Fonz wasn't just a TV character. He was a true idol, worshipped by an entire generation of children and teenagers. What made him special was the combination of his cool exterior and a kind heart, genuine advice, and unshakable confidence. He represented an ideal masculine archetype of the era, without needing complexity or grand displays. The Fonz's coolness radiated from his authenticity, composure, and ability to gracefully solve any problem. For us, idolizing the Fonz was an indispensable part of childhood, a memory we don't regret. He was a symbol of optimism, freedom, and a simple spirit that only the 70s could produce and cherish. Every time he appeared, the atmosphere became livelier, and we learned that true confidence comes from within, without needing flowery words or complex actions. Tiger Beat was the only news we needed. As teenagers in the 70s, the adult world of political or economic news seemed distant and unappealing. Instead, Tiger Beat was the only source of information we truly cared about. Sure, 99.9% of what Tiger Beat printed about teen idols like Sean Cassidy or David Cassidy was probably written and edited by PR people. But we didn't care about that fact. Moreover, we were immersed in creating myths, yearning to believe that flawless, perfect teen giants like Sean and David Cassidy truly existed in this world. We didn't want to be told otherwise, and we certainly didn't care what was happening in the adult news world. Tiger Beat wasn't just a magazine. It was a doorway to a dream world where young idols were the center of all attention, where everything sparkled and was perfect. It provided an escape from reality, a source of pure inspiration and joy for teenage souls, keeping us forever immersed in star dreams without being bothered by the dry news of the adult world. Road trips happened in the back of your family station wagon. Nowadays, people still go on road trips, but they're nothing like the road trips of the 70s. It was a unique experience. Road trips happened in the back of your family station wagon. We didn't have GPS to guide us, and no other digital entertainment devices like smartphones, iPods, tablets, or portable DVD players. We lived in a world without screens to stare at throughout the journey. Instead, we had to invent car games to avoid boredom, like license plate bingo or name that tune, or simply stare at the passing scenery outside the window until we reach that state of road trip trance. No one meditates as well as a bored child on an 8-hour road trip when their mind is free to wander and explore. These trips were lessons in patience, creativity, and the ability to enjoy simple moments. They forced families to interact, converse, and create shared memories through experiences untouched by technology, making each trip a memorable adventure in its own way. Still with us on this nostalgic journey? Drop a yes in the comments so we know you're enjoying it. We experienced Star Wars for the first time without any expectations. Imagine the moment you walked into a movie theater completely unaware that your life was about to change. That was the feeling for the 70s generation when they first saw Star Wars. We had no preconceived notions about Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, or Darth Vader. No siblings or parents or even grandparents telling us, "This is the greatest trilogy ever made." Or, "Oh my God, the lightsaber battle is coming." Just wait and see. Everything was new, surprising, and utterly captivating. The feeling of discovering a brand new universe, an unprecedented epic story, created an indelible mark. We weren't influenced by massive expectations, nor pressure to love it because others said it was great. We were free to immerse ourselves in the story, every image, every sound. The movie truly belonged to us, something no other generation can experience in that way again. The purity in receiving this work amplified its power and impact, transforming Star Wars not just into a film, but into a personal cultural phenomenon, a precious shared memory for an entire generation. It was the moment science fiction reached its peak, not only visually, but also in its ability to tell a story and build a completely new world, opening the door to the imaginations of millions of children. Nothing was as terrifying yet exciting as Jaws. If Star Wars opened up a new universe full of hope, another 70s film instilled ultimate fear into the minds of an entire generation. Jaws. Steven Spielberg's classic 1975 film is a testament to how horror doesn't need too many special effects. In Jaws, we only saw the shark for a few brief minutes at the end of the movie. However, this work created such a profound psychological effect that it terrorized an entire generation when they went into the water. And we mean any body of water. From swimming pools to freshwater lakes and perhaps even bathtubs, all became terrifying obsessions. The feeling of fear didn't come from direct gruesome images, but from extreme tension and stimulated imagination. We were sure we would see a shark fin gliding towards us, and that we were just moments away from being swallowed whole. This fear wasn't limited to the cinema but spread into daily life, creating a shared memory that was both chilling and incredibly exciting, proving the power of cinema in shaping the perceptions and emotions of an entire generation. Jaws taught us that the greatest fear often comes from what we don't see, from tension and anticipation, rather than from graphic violence. We had both Sesame Street and The Muppet Show. Imagine living in a world where both legendary shows coexisted and thrived. That was Sesame Street and The Muppet Show. In the 70s, Sesame Street was still in its golden age. Muppets like Grover, Ernie, and Bert were delivering their best performances, brilliantly combining education and entertainment. And what's more, The Muppet Show had new episodes airing regularly every week, bringing joy and laughter to millions of families. Kermit wasn't just a nostalgic memory of the past, he was a real celebrity. A Burt Reynolds for the under-15 crowd, a cultural icon every kid adored. In the 70s, we watched every episode of both shows with collective anticipation, as if we all shared the same thoughts, the same joy. The combination of education through entertainment from Sesame Street and the humor and diversity of The Muppet Show set a gold standard for children's programming. They weren't just TV shows, they were friends, teachers, and endless sources of inspiration that shaped the childhoods of millions of children. Through whimsical characters and fun songs, we learned about letters, numbers, friendship, and acceptance. This was truly the golden age of Muppet shows, a precious memory for 70s kids. Mood rings explained, or dictated our feelings. In an era where science wasn't as prevalent as it is today, small items sometimes carried a bit of magic and mystery, typically like mood rings. You could argue that mood rings didn't really work as promised, and their effectiveness in diagnosing your mood was about as accurate as a horoscope predicting your day. But in the 1970s, we felt like mood rings were a kind of dark magic that could peer into our souls and declare to the world, "Not today, folks. Not today." This ring created a small mystery and wonder in daily life. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry, but also a conversation starter, a fun and simple way to express emotions, adding a bit of color and curiosity to personal interactions. We believed that the ring's colors, from blue for calmness, green for energy, to black for stress, truly reflected our inner state. It represented the innocence and belief in wonders of a generation, where simple phenomena could also become the center of attention and belief, bringing a little excitement to daily life. The world felt safer and more certain thanks to Fred Rogers. Finally, one of the most important reasons why the 70s were a memorable time for childhood was due to the presence of a special character. The world felt safer and more certain thanks to Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood wasn't just one of our favorite shows because there were so few other options. Singing along to "Won't You Be My Neighbor" truly made us feel comforted, even if we didn't realize we needed comforting. Mr. Rogers' gentle voice and calm demeanor were like a sedative for the soul, giving us the confidence to face the world, even when we wanted to hide under the covers. In a world sometimes turbulent with major events like the Vietnam War or Watergate, Mr. Rogers created a safe space where children could learn about emotions, self-acceptance, and compassion. He taught us that feelings are normal and that each individual's worth is unconditional. His presence on television was a steadfast anchor, a source of spiritual encouragement, helping us overcome worries and grow up with confidence. He was a trustworthy friend, always reminding us of kindness and the value of being ourselves, an invaluable spiritual legacy for an entire generation. As you can see, the 70s may be remembered for significant historical events, but for those who grew up during that era, it was an age of innocence, freedom, and unique experiences that no other generation quite had. From fun music lessons to boundless outdoor adventures, the 70s truly were the sweetest time to be alive for a child. Do you have any other memorable 70s memories? Share them with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on other interesting content, and hit that notification bell to get alerts whenever a new video drops. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.